Okay, so if I'm trying to get started in doing this, what kind of hurdles do you think I'm going to face? I buy into this, I'm like, okay, yes, I want to use other people's money. I want to generate wealth that way. That's the way to do it. What do I need to look out for?
Well, it's just setting it up right, setting up correctly, and don't let emotions take over for your investing. People usually get greedy and start, letting their emotions take over for their investing, and they get in and they start buying properties that are not profitable. I mean, investing is all about numbers. If you could take away the emotions and just leave it for your energy and putting it into the project, better. I see so many people want to do 5 or 6 deals a year and they lose money on 2 or 3, and at the end of the year they break even, instead of just doing 2 good deals and making money and growing it. In 3 years you could have good wealth, but in 1 year it's kind of tough just starting out. You want to make sure you do this strategically so you're making money on each deal.
It's interesting. I see this. I feel like I've seen this in my own life in other arenas too, like where you get excited about something and you're like, oh, I must expand. I must scale this idea. And you're saying that can backfire.
Well, I've seen it backfire more than that. Probably 80 to 90% of the people who try to do too much or let emotions get in, they know their numbers going in, and then pretty soon you're bidding on a property and they're like, I could just go another 5 or 10, or I could pay my realtor another 1 or 2. So pretty soon their numbers don't become profitable because they're stretching. This business is designed for anybody and everyone, but it's designed for people who could take the emotions and put it into the energy of the property and not the purchase. As they say, you make your money on the buy in real estate investing, and it's so important that you leave the emotions on the side and then make sure you understand leverage. You have to understand how you use leverage properly and how that is going to create the wealth and income.
Okay.
Because not everyone has, $300,000 to start investing.
Besides me, I've got that and much more.
Yeah. So you're bold.
No, not at all.
The biggest thing is to make sure you take the emotions out and you understand that property has to pay for itself. Because if you feel good that property is bringing in $4,000 and it's only costing you $2,000, you can mentally go like, hey, I could get another mortgage because it's not going to be a burden to me.
Yeah.
And I can house hack to the next one or whatever. So it doesn't matter if you're house hacking or whatever. You have to make sure you're comfortable with the numbers and that is going to make you money. People get so emotional because they're like, they either get the greed emotion, like I'm going to make $1 million this year, and they're like, I'm going to do this and this and this, and then they end up losing $1 million, whatever. Or they get so trapped in all the emotions that it gets to them, they just never start in doing it. And sometimes there's little steps you could do, like house hacking, joining and working with someone who's already in the business, who's doing a good job, combining with them and learning as they go, like, hey, how do you fix this up? Because the other part of buying and selling properties, especially on the flip side, is making sure the properties are sellable. There's people who buy properties and do such a bad job, like they go in and fix them, but they don't fix them. They just put lipstick on, or they're just covering stuff up, and people in markets like this notice that and they don't sell. Like, you still have to have a product that someone wants to buy.
Yeah.
So there's components, and you have to have like I've seen people, like every bathroom, they just went and got the clearance items and everything is mismatched and everything. And people are like, just got to start over. There's a reason that it is, easy, not simple, or simple, not easy. However, it goes to that you still have to take the steps, and you have to take the steps till you're comfortable enough to eliminate as much emotion as you can, as far as the bad emotion that's going to get you into doing stuff you shouldn't do.
Yeah, I could see the greed playing up in terms of like that person that just used the clearance items in the bathroom. It's like, oh, I could make more money. It's like it sounds like just being having a solid business mind about the whole thing. Like knowing that people, in media terms, right, respecting your audience, people are going to walk in there and be like, this bathroom looks terrible.
Yep. And 5 years ago, people were bidding on everything. It didn't matter.
Oh, okay, so this is different.
Times have changed now. Rates are charged, so people are being more selective because they can't afford. If they're going to pay that high interest rate, they want a nice property. They want to move into a property and live there for a while without having handyman over all the time.
That's how my wife is. That's what she says about everything. Like, this has got to be a immediate move-inable. Yeah. That's what she says when we've looked at places. So, yeah.
And that's the way most people are. They're busy enough that they don't want to do that.
Yeah.
So you have to take that into account when you're starting this whole thing. And that's why I say the 3 months is great too, because you can learn and understand not only like finding properties, looking at them, but how do you make sure and look at people's finishes and how they do and what's selling. We still have properties in certain areas that are selling in days, and some properties are taking months. And the biggest difference is the wow factor, just moving in. And a lot of it is easy. It's just, having an eye for
just the wow factor.
Yeah.
That's what you see as the difference between few days selling and
exactly
months.
Yeah. Like I could skip that. I could keep the old cabinets and not paint them, and people walk in and go like, yeah, this cabinet's kind of stink. Compared to people who hate them or redo them. It's what happens. It's reality.
So for flippers, they definitely need to be in doing good work when they're flipping, so that people will like what they see.
Get help.
Quality.
Get help from realtors. Get help from people who design, or just go online and take what other people are doing, grays and blues, and keep it all the same. A lot of people want to make every bathroom different, every kitchen, just keep it all the same.